Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill here on this Wednesday, November 12th morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, and it's high school football playoff time. So we got to bring in the Ballin VA crew, Brendan, Chase, Lee, and Phillip, all taking some time out of their morning to chat with us. And guys, it is high school football playoffs. The temperature's a little chillier. Things are feeling a little bit more exciting, and we've got it all figured out. Everything is officially official. We know where everyone's playing on Friday. I want to start here at the top, and I'll start with you, Brendan. We'll kind of go down the line. Mm-hmm. Favorite first-round game? We'll dive right into it. Your most looking forward to game in the playoffs here to kick things off.
In the 804, I'll definitely say the Dinwiddie Hanover game. And the reason why I'll say that is Hanover is a tricky team. You know, they great coaches, great players, great athletes, and they can put you in certain positions that can make you a little uncomfortable. And since the Highland Springs game, Dinwiddie hasn't been tested. So I would say this could be a game where it may take a quarter or two to kind of get them going, but Billy Mills and then we'll get them going. But it just may take a quarter or two to kind of get them going, and Hanover can put them in different spots and things like that.
Yeah. All right, Chase, what's your game to watch, your favorite game in the playoffs here to start in the 804?
I'm going to be honest, Jack. At first, I didn't really have like a game I was like thoroughly interested in up until Monday night at the Touchdown Club. I'm looking at that Manchester-Lansdowne game, and there's a little backstory to that. Coach Harrell, he's a 7'5" guy. The coach at Lansdowne was his mentor when he first started coaching. So it's going to be kind of an interesting game. I do have Manchester coming out with that, but it's going to kind of be like a passing of the torch moment from the mentor to the student.
Oh, that's fun. That's a fun storyline.
Yeah.
Lee, what's yours?
I agree with that. Yeah, I would have to go with what Brendan said about the Hanover Dinwiddie game. That's a very, very intriguing matchup, considering the way that Hanover played against Highland Springs that last game. I mean, they were right there. You know, we can also go to the sexy matchup that will probably be Glen Allen and Highland Springs, but because of the injuries, it may not be that. But we got to give Malik Sexton his due as a head coach because, again, we were talking about him being Coach of the Year honors early on, you know, just in the conversation because of all the injuries that his players have sustained and still able to back into the playoffs like that. That just goes to show the good work. So I'm going to roll with Brendan on this one.
And Phillip, last but not least.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Brendan, too, as well. I like Dinwiddie Hanover as well. I think Dinwiddie gets to show, you know, let's go ahead and start this run. You have the number 1 overall seed. Hanover had a great game with Highland Springs. Highland Springs actually needed a kickoff return to bring that game home. So Hanover's going to be ready. They're well coached. Yes. But Dinwiddie knows they have a lot to prove as well, being able to start off 10-0. And they know that 4B region, you know, it's going to be, you know, box office. And so we're going to see what Dinwiddie looks like. I think Hanover's going to give him a challenge, but I think Dinwiddie will eventually pull it out late.
Lee, I want to go here because it's a team that Alan and I got to experience up close and personal. Granted, it wasn't the closest of all games, but they really impressed. And it's Armstrong. They have had a great season this year. I believe it's a program record 10-0 season, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're the 1 seed in their region.
They are.
They look good. Lee, I want you to start here on Armstrong's success this season, what Coach Pruitt has done down there.
First of all, let's just go ahead and say it. Let's give Coach Pruitt his flowers.
Absolutely.
And the job that he has done. Nobody had picked him, including us. We didn't pick him.
Nope.
We thought what TJ ended up getting with the players that they've gotten and what they had coming back and everything like that. So, first of all, Coach Pruitt, Coach of the Year. So let's just go ahead and put that out there. Now, if there's anybody else that maybe we can go Marcus Lewis, of course, of what they sustained and you know, some other coaches and stuff like that. But Armstrong, heads off to those players, those coaches, man, they've done a fantastic job of just maintaining it. And people, we can talk strength of schedule. Yep. You can go strength of schedule all day, but let's just tell it like it is. You got to play what's in front of you, and they dominated everybody.
Yeah,
okay.
They're putting what? I think they averaged some 50-some-odd points this season, and even in close games or in tougher games that we thought it would be close, they pulled away, and they weren't exactly, Chase.
I'll also say after what they went through a couple years ago with Coach Pruitt being suspended for that state, I think it was either state semifinal or regional championship.
Regional championship, yeah.
You know, and he, you know, I think he learned from that, which people may I don't think he should have been suspended, but it is what it is in the social media age that we're in. But for them to come through that and be where they're at now, it's good. And we can't forget about TJ. Them and TJ, that matchup too as well, because it was close. Had the stoppage, came back to play again. So that's a game that
was a weird little storyline.
Right. So, but like you said, shout out to Coach Pruitt, man, and Armstrong. You know, it's good to see, like we said, 804 football is back, especially even if it's in class 2. So, but it's very exciting. And shout out to Armstrong.
I'm gonna say this as a person who I'm a graduate of Goochland County. We've played them probably the last 4 or 5 years.
You see that plug in, right?
Hey, well, got to give my team some flowers. But Pruitt's always had talent. I mean, he had the quarterback Tony Allen, who's playing safety at VMI. He had the Chavis kid last year. He's always had the talent. But every year it felt like he kind of had that lump in the playoffs. I said, okay. But now, if you look at him, it's like, could this be the year Coach Pruitt gets it done? And because, like, I'm going to be honest, not a lot of people give Pruitt his flowers because me and Lee talk about it all the time. He's not getting the 4 or 5-star kids that say a TJ's got. He's getting the kids who maybe weren't looked at as well. Like, Shug Hansen was the backup quarterback at Varina last year, and he's come in and played really well. So, like, he's getting kind of the kids that don't really get the recognition they may deserve, and he's turned it into a powerhouse.
Yeah, I was going to say, too, Armstrong's season has been great. Outside of the TJ game, they've beaten everybody by 28 plus. Yeah, like, absolutely. Regardless of who you play, whatever, if you're dominating that well, you're good. Armstrong, too, now has the benefit that they're the number 1 overall seed in Class 2. So they will not have to travel until the state championship game. So that gives you, not only the domination, but now people get to showcase, okay, you're going to have to come through us to win it all. Right? So TJ might have something to say about that. Pecosa might have something to say about that as well. But ultimately, Armstrong is the position that you want to be. You want to be the number 1 overall seed. You want to show people that you're dominant. But they got to come through you to get it done. So Armstrong and Coach Pruitt and that staff and those players did everything they needed to do during the regular season that sets them up for a state championship run.
Yeah, it should be fun. I want to rewind real quick to Friday night's game, Huguenot Manchester, in what was a huge Dominion district. I always mix those up. A crazy game where Huguenot came out, and we can talk about both sides of it because Manchester Lansdowne's one game you guys are looking at for the playoffs. But I want to focus on the Huguenot side of it real quick because it threw a little wrench in the seeding in their region because Huguenot gets the win. They jump up to 3. Varina drops down to 4. Varina gets Cortland. I forget exactly who Huguenot gets as the 3 seed.
Spotsylvania.
There we go, 540. I forgot. I didn't realize Spotsy was that high. I didn't know they could put a number that high next to Spotsylvania County. But what is it about Huguenot? I mean, they've got so much talent across the board. And whoever wants to jump in first on it. But that was a huge win against Manchester and an impressive win for Huguenot.
I'm going to be honest. Huguenot definitely, hats off to him. Fantastic game. And I really want to shine light on that defense, especially the kid by the name of Jace Bigelow, who had a fantastic game. I think it was 2 sacks, a couple TFLs, and I think he had a pick too. But here's what I know about Coach Scott. Coach Scott is a very good disciplinarian, and after that St. Chris game, I'm sure a lot of people were like, could Huguenot take a bump this year? But he's got them rolling. It's 9 in a row. They got Spotsylvania this Friday. That should be a very good game if everything goes well. Coaching staffs both really well. Huguenot, I'm not going to be PC on this. They've got to finish. Varina has been their arch rival, and this year, to get on to that, in the 2 years Scott has played Varina, it's been on Route 5. This year, they get to go down Forest Hill. And another kid I want to shine a light on, the transfer from New Jersey from DePaul Catholic, Cartier Kennedy, who looks like a grown man running that football. So it's gonna be a very interesting matchup this year because now Scott's got home field turf. So let's see if he can maybe get over that hump because I think the winner of 4B will be hosting that little trophy at the end of the season.
You see, he just got rid of Louisa just like that. Right? you see that, right, Brendan?
Wow.
You know why we do that, right?
The switch up is crazy, but nah. I mean, like we said, shout out to Coach Scott. And after that St. Chris game, that the season could have went totally the opposite way. You come out there, you're supposed to be favored. You kind of let you drop the ball there, but it's going to be very interesting to see how how Huguenot goes to the playoffs, because last year, let's be honest, they laid a goose egg in the first round, which was very shocking to everybody up here. So, I think coach got them focused, and they should be good to go, and they should go out and dominate a Spotsylvania team. Don't play with your food. Dominate Spotsylvania team, and then look forward to that next week, because that's the matchup that we're all looking forward to.
And I'm not trying to stir the pot when I say this one here, but as someone from the 540, now living in the 804, there's a little talent gap between what's happening up there and down here in the 804. Yeah. I guess, Phillip, if you want to start on this one, talk a little bit about the difference in maybe Huguenot, Spotsy, and Varina, Cortland, if there is that kind of maybe a talent gap, or maybe am I just misinterpreting how it is?
Well, with teams in the 504, we talk about Cortland and Spotsylvania, different teams in that area.
Massaponics,
and a lot of those teams are great. And what those coaching staff do, they actually fit their schemes around their players, right? So the talent gap sometimes might not be there, but they're well coached, and you also know that when you play them, you have to beat them, because they're not going to be heavily penalized, right? They're gonna focus on the small things, and if you keep teams like that in the game and you give them the power of, okay, we can actually get this done, you're gonna have problems. Even Oscar Smith, when they won a chip and they played Massaponics, that game was a one-score game the whole time. Massaponics' O-line was blowing them off the ball. They had problems with the run game. That triple option was giving them problems, because most teams don't see those type of things. So with Cortland and Spotsy, a lot of times you use what you can to your advantage, because a lot of times they might not have seen your system throughout the year. And so it's hard to prepare for those teams. The team, back in the day, you saw triple option wing T all the time throughout the state. Right. Now, if you see it, you might see it once a year. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of times you might see it in the playoffs. So I think Cortland, Spotsylvania can use those things to their advantage. But if we're just looking at it from a pure talent standpoint, Varina and Huguenot should get it done either way over time, because they'll figure it out, and they have great coaching staffs as well.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, I went to Stafford High School, so me being a 540 guy, we've always been looked down at. But I would say this. That King George staff, and we know over the years King George has been really good. They went to Spotsylvania and changed the culture, so shout out to Coach Vern and those guys even getting Spotsylvania into the playoffs. Yeah. It's been ever since, I think when they won it in the 90s with Coach Coleman. That's the last time Spotsylvania was relevant in Virginia football, period. Yeah. And
speaking of culture change, I want to go down 95 a little bit. We went up north, now we're going down 95 to Petersburg with what Jerome Mathis has done down there. They're looking like a scary team. I forget who it was. Meadowbrook they blanked, and that was an impressive win for Petersburg. And I believe they're a 2 seed now in their region. How impressive is that culture change? Is that team turnaround that head coach Jerome Mathis has done down there?
Let him go.
All right.
Let him cook.
Coach Mathis. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit. Petersburg went 2-8 last year, and I'm gonna be the first to say, coming in year one, turning around a Petersburg team who now looks like they're going to also have a great basketball season, and being able to coach football. And hats off to Coach Mathis, because he played for the Texans, one of the fastest people I've ever watched. And like him coming in and changing that staff up and getting those people to buy in is hats off to him, because one of my favorite coaches is coaching up at Prince George, and he's now understanding the struggles it is to coach in the area of Petersburg. So hats off to him. Fantastic season. If they can escape Lake Taylor, that regional championship game should be fantastic.
Hey, that would be, we got to give props to Petersburg, another one. Poor Meadowbrook, because we was on their band. Well, he was anyway.
They were a fun team.
They were a fun team.
Then get left out of the playoffs.
Well, this is what happens when you front load your schedule and make it easy to make it attractive to get the girl. But then when the girl decides to figure out, see how that you are, eventually say, okay, you know what? Oh, he's showing me the real him now. So now we saw what they were, and then then your destiny had to land in the hands of Clover Hill. And Clover Hill knocked out, 3 teams pretty much when they beat George Swift knocked them out.
Yep.
By them winning that last game over Clover Hill. So you put your hands on the Clover Hill, so you kind of get what you get. So I went on the bandwagon. You got to show me. I'm the state of Missouri. Show me state, okay? I don't care about what you're doing. I need the results. And so that's why I said Petersburg was consistent when they beat Norcom the way that they did at the beginning of the season. Yep. We know Norcom was in the regional championship last year. So hey, props to them, man. I'm glad that our area is showing this. Jerome Mathis going home, and some of these other coaches. Marcus Lewis came back to his alma mater. Charles Scott over there resurrected Huguenot. We need those type of things. So for me personally, I'm all cool with that.
Let me add to this. So let's just say I got to see Jerome Mathis, heads up, because I played at Norfolk State. And so Jerome was at Hampton at the time. And so my first year was 2004 when he went and destroyed everybody. And I remember he ran a reverse against us. And I'll never forget, this is the year Reggie Bush was there, Ted Ginn, all these type of guys. And my dad was like, Jerome Mathis is the fastest guy in college football. And he was. Like, he ran a reverse, gets his shoulders going, 60-plus yards for a touchdown. He's always been a game changer, whether it been football, where he was All-American in track. So I'm not surprised that he comes back and gives back to his school, saying, like, look, you guys saw what I did. You know what I'm saying? I went from Hampton to the Texans, was all-pro kickoff returner, and I'm going to bring that culture here. So it's not just about what I'm telling you. I've also done it. So I can show you what you need to do if you want to go to that high level. And I think these kids and that coaching staff not only got to see it, but they get to see it on a regular basis. And he has the example in the forthright to do what they do. And like he said, if Petersburg gets past Lake Taylor in the regional in the regional championship, it's there. At that point, you only have Heritage and Lynchburg and LCA and Kettle Run. But the thing is, you would be opposite them. So you really wouldn't see them to the state championship game. So everything is lined up for Petersburg to make a run, not just for their region, but to make a state championship run. So we'll see how it plays out.
And we do know that the Petersburg faithful will travel. Yes. So if they do basketball, so that would be a big thing for that. So like I said, great for that city. If we got it in stock, we need to buy whatever stock we had in Petersburg, city of Petersburg right there, whether it's property or something. We need to get some of that.
Yeah, we got to invest in the city because it's going up. It's going up. It's going up. In a hurry. Another team I want to hit on, and a team that might not be in the headlines this week because they've got a bye week up there in Region 6A, I believe it is, with Thomas Dale. Feels like that's a team. That was a deep sigh there, Lee. I don't know if that's a good sigh or a bad sigh. Feels like that team has just been quietly winning games, relying on their defense. Yes. A very, very good defensive unit. Yep. How far can they go? Or are we sleeping on Thomas Dale? Because it feels like we haven't heard a lot about them.
Well, I saw Thomas Dale at the beginning. We were there.
Yeah, we were there.
At the game against Glen Island. And
Glen Island nearly pulled that one out.
They always pulled that one out. So this is what I would say. I had one feeling, but after seeing what Manchester did Friday night, to me, I will go on record of saying that Thomas Dale's defense is better than Huguenot's. I mean, just what I see, based on what I've seen up front. Okay. So with that being said, I thought that Manchester probably would have had a clear path to go meet Oscar Smith. But let's look at it. It's the Oscar Smith Invitational, okay? Let's just look at it. That's what it is. That's what you're doing. You're going to meet your maker. So, I hate to use that terminology, but what it is. But Thomas Dale, their offense, man, it's just not there, man. It's not there. You have to be able to pass and run the ball consistently in the playoffs if you plan on advancing. I just don't see it. Shout out to Coach Tucker and his staff. Amazing job. But the defense can only carry you so far, And so,
but defense wins championships.
It does, but the offense got to do its part too.
Yeah, I hate that cliche because it leaves out so much. It leaves out so much that needs to tell the story of it.
Who will jump in there?
I'll jump in. He's right. Dale's defense is legit. And they got the Navy commit and Cole Lineberger. The linebacker is probably going D1 and Michael Davis. But as Lee said, a defense cannot carry you.
Yeah.
They got a sophomore quarterback. I mean, don't get me wrong, but they got a running back named N.J. Hines who's going to William and Mary. But I agree with Lee. I don't think the offense is there.
Brendan, you got something cooking over there. It feels like
And I get the point about the offense, but defense can get you to a point. So let's say they get past let's say you guys saw Friday night Manchester struggled.
Right.
So if they can make these games ugly, like we always say, style makes fights, right? So if they can make it a 10-7 game or create turnovers, because defenses can flip ball games or even special teams. So I get that point too as well. Larry and Chase is correct, but I think if they get to that Oscar Smith game and make it a dog fight, anything could happen, especially if you get turnovers and your defense really plays well, because they could be one play away or the offense could come. But I agree, the offense has to get rolling, but the defense can make a game very interesting.
Can kind of almost be like a stopgap. Keep it and let them find their feet and things of that sort.
And I'll also say in 6A, I mean, really, there's no potent, true, like high-powered offense. Like when we were at Freedom, we had high power. But right now, like look at Oscar Smith. You take Travis away, now you change the game. Or you look at a Manchester, their star receiver got hurt, so now it changes the ball game for them too as well. So I would just say on that part, Thomas Dell's probably looking at it like, well, there's no teams that's really killing it. In 6, I think they go into it thinking we have a chance no matter what.
Yeah, so 6A is kind of wide open, because at first I thought Manchester would have a clear path, but if they would have had a decent showing against Huguenot, which I wasn't expecting, I don't think anybody was expecting that. It's like, offense, you still got to be able to put up points, and we know that Manchester can do that. But again, against a formidable defense, we saw what Huguenot did, and Charles Scott said he felt like they got the best defense in the state.
He was adamant about that.
He was adamant about that, right? So if that's the case, then what is Thomas Dale?
Yeah. Or was Varina?
Was Varina, exactly. We didn't even get to that part.
What's Dinwiddie? We got Carolina Rodney. He makes sure to text in, call in, and let us know that Dinwiddie's defense is up there. So
Glen Island defense was,
it's a bold statement from Coach Scott, but it felt like in that post game interview that we had,
he was serious,
and he was serious, but he knows he's kind of got a chip on his shoulder going into the playoffs. They got something to prove, and I'm curious how much that will help propel Huguenot to kind of get over the proverbial hump, and how important it is that they're going to be, assuming the results bear out seeding-wise, they'll get a host Varina in 2 weeks.
If they get to that point. And see, this is the thing, that I kind of give them a little bit of grace. This is only year 3, okay? I think because Huguenot has the sexy players, the names, the rankings and stuff like that, I think that's why we kind of harp on them so bad. But think about it. 3 years ago, they was in the dumpster juice. Nobody wanted that job. Nobody even wanted that job. They took it and immediately made a change. I think that they still deserve some grace. Varina is a great team right now. They're great. I mean, they just, 4 years away from the state championship? They did one? Yeah. So you're talking about them like saying, they some failures. I don't look at it from that standpoint, because look what happened. LC Bird, it took them a while to get over the hump. Hermitage they had to go through Hermitage to get to that point. Then Highland Springs came up there, had to get through Hermitage and LC Bird. It took them a while to get there. So I think Huguenot deserves the same grace, even if it doesn't happen this year, even though looking at the players on the field, but we still, that's just me. I'm going to give them a little bit of grace.
And I agree with what Larry says, but if we're all 4 of us up here and everybody listening can agree, if they have a showing like they did last year,
they cannot.
And this is what we say, because people always say those spread offenses can't play in the cold, but I disagree, because we ran. So you gotta, like Larry said too as well, year 3, it's got to be a jump. You can't go out first round. You gotta, like Coach Scott said, you say you got the best defense in the state, you got to show it. It's like Larry said, show me state. Now you just came off a big win. Now you had to keep going. You had to get stronger as we go on. Like we say, play all the best teams in the state. They get better as it goes. So like we said, I'm very excited. But Coach Scott and them, this is the year they gotta take the next step for me.
And we're talking great defenses. Huguenot's one of them. I do want to focus in on. It feels like no conversation about high school football in the 804 is not complete without some Varina, Highland Springs talk. Varina's defense legit shut down Highland Springs in that rivalry game. How important is it that they did fall that seed line from the 3 to the 4? If you want to take this one, Phillip.
Yes.
Like, that seems to be pretty large, but are we blowing that out of proportion that now instead of being the 3, they're the 4?
Good question. So we talked to Marcus Lewis a couple times in the last week or so, and from his perspective, they don't care what seed they are. And the reason that is, if you look at not only their team, but their body of work. Your only losses are to Maury,
State power.
you know what I'm saying, and Grimsley.
Top
And
20
both
team in the nation.
and both of those games were winnable. Like
They only
it,
lost by a combined 8 points.
right. So with the Maury game, you only gave one offensive touchdown. I don't remember the last time Maury has only scored one offensive touchdown. Might have been New Bern 3 years ago, right? So and this was early Varina defense. You know what I mean? That was like game 3. So you look at it from that perspective. At the other thing too, but they've been the most complete team. You know, Caleb has done his thing, running and passing the ball. The defense has been lights out. Bull Richards in that front line, you can't do anything. The linebackers are falling right behind them, and then you got the secondary who's ready to pounce on everything. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like with Varina, they don't care what seed they are. I think everybody looked at the jump is because Huguenot went to the 3. We were anticipating Varina Dinwiddie potentially in the regional championship, that like last year. But this time, more than likely, we're going to get it in round 2. So you're looking at a game where Dinwiddie wants revenge, right? And Varana's like, we're the most complete team. We beat you here last year by 17 plus. We're not scared of coming to Dinwiddie. So the coaching styles of Coach Lewis and Billy Mills, we're looking forward to that game. But everybody knows, and everybody's at even other publications, looking at Varina and 4, everybody's like, we got Varina to win state, regardless of what ranking they were. So that's just how good that team is and how complete they've been this season.
Yeah, it don't matter to them. Marcus said it. He said they play better on the road. So they don't care where they go.
They really went down to Grimsley and pulled out the win at Grimsley in a different state.
Yeah, and they said that was like a crazy atmosphere for them to go down there in that atmosphere and with those type of places. It was the biggest players that they had ever seen. So to be able to come out of that situation where you get beat on the end of the play, end of the game, that's a big deal for them. And think about their defense. How many points teams have scored on Varina this year?
I think I did the math. They're averaging less than 8 allowed per game. I think I went through their max prep schedule and did the quick math, if I'm not mistaken. Dinwiddie, though, also averaging allowed like 6 points per game because they got a couple shutouts in there. So if everything falls the way we're expecting it to, that might be like a 10-3 type of football game.
Oh, we're going to find out real quick.
Yeah.
See, now all the talk is there. I'm just like this. I'm just ready to just snap my fingers and just say, hey, let's just go ahead and just make the matchups. We know what we want to see. We don't want to see a Hanover upset. Shout out to Sam Rogers. We don't want to see that. We want Dinwiddie. We want Varina. That's what we want, okay? That's what we want, bar none.
Portland upset.
No, we don't. Cortland.
See.
Cortland, you have no chance.
I'm not a.
You have no chance, Cortland.
Look, I try
Good
to take the homer hat off when it comes to
Cortland.
Cortland was I don't know. Is Massaponax' number 1 rival from back in my
Enjoy your
day.
trip to Richmond.
I remember that.
Enjoy your trip to Richmond. Go stop at the East End and some of those novelty shops or anything and stuff like that. Take the chips and go home because you're not winning next week. You're not winning. They probably put their backups in, and they probably still beat you. So
I can't wait. If Cortland wins, I can't wait for them to somehow find this clip out there. It'll be really good on the hype video. Really good for their.
It'd be real good. It'd be hype going. They won't be so hype going home.
But I'll piggyback on the
How do you follow that one?
Right. On the Varina Dinwiddie thing, like Larry said, this is one of the most hype games. Varina's coming into, and honestly,
One of the most hype games that isn't technically a game yet.
Right, exactly. That's like both teams got to get there, but still, it's like we said, Dinwiddie wants revenge, and honestly, Varina's looking like we went there last year. Like Phil said, y'all, there's no Harry Dalton walk through the door. You can't dig him out the grave. We're gonna go in and we're gonna show y'all. And Dinwiddie's also too with Billy Mills. They're like, listen, they're coming back into our house. We can't have the showing that we had last year. So it's going to be styles make fights, and it's going to be who steps up. And I'll say this, whoever plays a better quarterback play is going to win the game. Because we talk about Caleb, but too, Zion has been balling.
Yeah.
Whoever it is. And like we said, the Highland Springs game, he was balling. So I think that's going to be the key to that game too as well. Yeah, special teams.
Quarterback play has been fantastic for both teams, and it feels like the teams that we're talking about that are the best teams in the area, they've got the best quarterbacks in the area. Huguenot, we've talked about. Charles Scott Jr.'s very good at football. Caleb Weich, very good at football. Zion Boyso, very good at football. And these are the 3 teams it feels like we continuously are talking about as go-to guys. And you're right, Lee. I will shift gears here because we've been hyping a lot about here right in the 804.
Let's have this conversation about Louisa.
Right outside, because they are sniffing around. They are the two there. They kind of, I don't know if they shocked me because they got the number 1 running back in the nation in Savion Hyder.
All right.
Louisa pretty good at football, huh? Can they play spoiler in over there with Varina and Dinwiddie?
Paul Robinson.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Here's
let
what
him go because we
All
don't
right.
let them two.
Here's
cook
what
him.
I sat down and went back and watched their game against Western Albemarle. Here's what I'm going to say. Louisa is a two-man game. Savion Hyder and Daisier Carter.
Yeah, but when one of them's the number 1 running back in the country.
I mean, he's very...
Please say that again, because we've seen running backs take over games and win state championships.
Especially in high school football.
Yeah,
And Phil gonna give y'all that.
Go ahead.
All right, but Savion's got... He's got to carry. He's got to. Like, there's no beating around the bush. Western Albemarle, do you even know who that is?
I'm assuming they're in Albemarle County in the western part of it.
Okay.
And they probably have an enrollment of around 700 to 1,200.
They're a Class 3 school who's probably going to be a first-round exit this week as they travel to Wilson Memorial.
Oh, good.
But that offense put up 41 points on the Louisa defense. I'm sorry, like, as good as I will say Savion is, a defense giving up 41 points to a team that's not exactly a name-brand team. I know I rode their hype train a little bit,
Yeah,
but I'm off.
Hey, but what if Hyder scores 42? Doesn't matter how many points the defense put out.
Here's the thing.
Please get.
Louisa is like Lee talked about the show me state, right? Huguenot's not going to be afraid to go to Louisa. Now we heard the atmosphere is going, the environment is great. You know, we know all these things are great, right? But here's the thing with Savion, and here's the expectation that we have in the standard for Ballin VA when it comes to, you know, nationally ranked running backs. If Savion is that guy, everybody who's been a guy, Gatorade Player of the Year, Travion Henderson, state champion with Hopewell, Jeff Overton, state champion with Freedom.
Gatorade Player of the Year as a junior.
Davidson from LCA, state champion. These were all 4 or 5-star guys who won chips because they were the main contributors for the team. And then we have Paul Robertson, LC Bird. The man who was backing up the starter for 2 years, comes in for 1 season. Everybody knows he's getting the ball. He runs for over 1,100 yards and wins state championship with them over Ocean Lakes in the playoffs. All on the road. So if Savion is that guy, I can't put you above those other 4 guys till you prove that you could carry a team on your back and win a state championship. And if you do it, you're going to do it in the toughest region in the state in 4B. And then it solidify your status as a number 1 recruit in the nation as a running back. So if you're that guy, that's the expectation that we have for you. So all of the talk and all that type of stuff, the whole playoffs will be 804. It's the show me state. So Savion, you're on deck. Louisa, you're on deck. Coach staff, you're on deck. Let's go.
Go ahead, Brendan. Go
My
ahead.
bad. And listen, it can be done. You know, we're not saying like it can't be. We just need to see it. Like last year, them going out to in the second round was crazy. You know, you just gotta, whether you go Wildcat and put them 2 in the backfield, but you can't.
Which they do, right?
They do have that pack too, and their backup running back is not bad either. And I know me and Phil were talking about him too as well. So he just, I mean, it can be done, but like we said, just look, and like we said, that environment, they actually have a real life line that comes out. That environment, they got to use that to their advantage.
Beat them.
You know, and they got to make that Huguenot game a dogfight. So,
One other thing I'll add too, Louisa's defense. Like if you're giving up 41 to West Albemarle, what is Huguenot? What is Dinwiddie? What is Varina if you have to see them later down the road? They've never seen teams from an offensive standpoint with the firepower of those 3 teams, and they're going to have to beat at least 2 of them to go to the reach. So that's the other part too. Louisa's defense hasn't been tested, so there's a lot of things. Not just the offense of Savion, he could be going off, but you can't stop nobody. That's the other part of it too. So we're going to see. The whole team has something to prove, not just himself on the offense side.
It's going to be, shout out Louisa, is going to be a fun time. It's going to be, and I mean, Hyder is just very fun to watch and very good at football.
yes, he is.
He's one of what we were talking pre-show, 3 guys in the area that's going up to Michigan to continue his play. So that's going to be really fun to see. But we've got a lot. I'm going to ask kind of how we started it, the game that you're watching out for. I want to hear your pick, your best team in the playoffs that you're most excited to see. We talked about favorite game to see. There's got to be a team that you're most excited to see. Brendan, if you want to start and kind of go down the line to wrap up here on this Wednesday.
Yes, sir. You know, I'm and the Varina faithful. They've been giving me a little slack, but I'm gonna go with Varina. And they just got, like, last year they got to the state championship game, so they're very excited. That defense gets going, but let's see if that offense. And once that offense gets clicking, it's going to be dangerous. They got Puka Scott at offensive coordinator. He's been in the game forever. You know, Caleb, and also too as well, throwing his name out, D1. We're waiting for you too as well. Ready for you to step up just like you did last year at Dinwiddie. Let's go ahead, and they need you to come play. So my team is going to be Varina.
I like it, Chase.
I gotta agree. It's gotta be Varina. But just that defense is remarkable, and Caleb at quarterback, dynamic athlete. He's a game changer in his own right, and that offense gets clicking, like Coach Brendan said. I'm sorry for anybody who's got to play him.
Yeah, Lee. I know it's a tough question.
Yeah, because it's like three I want to say, but I'm just go with the one. I mean, obvious. We want to see if Varina can close. This has been the whole off season, and now we here. One and done now.
Yeah.
So I think Varina has prepped themselves throughout the year to get to this point to say, all right, now we got to do this on the road. We thought that we was going to be able to do it at home, but now we got to go on the road and prove what we got to do. Yeah, I would love. At the beginning, I probably would have said TJ. You know, I probably would have. Yeah, I would have probably said, you know, Huguenot. You know, I want to maybe see how they did, but unfortunately, those two got to meet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Varina, see if they can close. Shout out to East End.
And I'm going to go across the grain. I'm going to go Armstrong because everything is set up for them to win the state championship. Yeah. You gotta beat TJ, you gotta beat Pocosin, but you have everything in your place to do it done. So I'm going to say Armstrong because of that season with Coach Pruitt and them. That's who I'm looking forward to see. Can they close it in 2A? And say, okay, let's bring this chip home.
Yeah, I'm excited to try to make it back to an Armstrong game because right now in our food review rankings, they rank number 3 out of all concession stand foods in the 804.
Okay.
Close third.
We'll be there next week.
Number 1, Huguenot, just in case anyone's curious as we wrap up. Number 1, Huguenot. Number 2, Highland Springs.
Of course.
The fried pork chop
Huguenot is better than Highland Springs?
Look,
I thought Highland Springs was...
Spiritually, Highland Springs, number 1. However, the numbers don't lie. In the moment, I gave Huguenot a 9.5. Highland Springs got 9.4. Alan can confirm. Armstrong coming in at close number 3. It is a tight race there up at the top. But I appreciate you guys so much for taking some time out of your morning. Yep. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. We're going to get a quick break in here, step aside, wrap up Fitz the Bill on this November 12th.